2 days ago, I made a video about the only game in my life that I've played against Magnus Carlsen. So then you'll ask, why would you make a video named the strongest Grandmaster I ever played? Well, I've played a lot of them online, but in terms of serious over-the-board chess, I get asked this question a lot, and by over-the-board, that means 90-minute, 120-minute games, and that Grandmaster now revealed is Quang Liem. Liem is in the top 30 in the world, peaking at number 22 in 2017. He won the World Blitz Championship in 2013. I played him in 2018 in July. At the time I was peaking, I had just got my international master, my last international master norm, and I was about to become an IM. We met in the third round of a tournament called World Open, the highest prize fund open tournament in the US, and we played on this board. That's board one of the whole thing. And this was back when over-the-board chess was a thing. That's not me. That's Grandmaster Darius Schwiertz, but we sat exactly where he is sitting, across from Liem there. Liem, I don't think for our game had a banana, but that's just probably because he didn't quite respect me as much as his Grandmaster opponent. All right, let's jump into the game. Liem played c4. Preparing, by the way, for guys who are ranked top 20 in the world is impossible. I had like an hour or two, and he played everything, literally every first move, and I just decided, okay, he plays the English, I'm going to be principled and take the center. He goes for g3, and here there's a lot of ways for black to play. I chose the way with knight c6, bishop c5, and then playing the move a6. So delaying the movement of my knight to f6, the bishop here now has a getaway to a7 in case white ever commits to which way the pawns are going to move like this. It's unclear to me where he's going to put his knight. At this point, I had been preparing a lot of very aggressive ideas if white sets up e3 and then knight to e2, but then he played knight f3. And what's funny is that that summer in 2018, I played against a few really strong players, and I had this in my repertoire, and I was like, okay, you know, I'll give it one more rodeo. I'll play it one more time against this really strong player. So here we go. d6, and now you'll notice I continue to delay the movement of my knight because I'd like to put my knight on e7. This is all preparation prior. He plays h3. Of course, I don't take. I play bishop h5. He plays a3. You'll notice he's also slow crawling here. It's unclear whether he's going to play d4. I had been waiting for that move for a while. Unclear if he's going to play a3, b4. He can also play for g4. But I continued with my plan. We both castled. And here it's basically the big decision for him. Does he play d3, d4, b4? What's he going to do? And he slow played it. He decided to just be very solid and play the move d3. And here I kind of uncorked the idea behind my preparation of putting the knight here and having the bishop like this, the move f6. The point is to restructure my center, bring this bishop around to f7 from where it will hit d5, and then break in the center with the move d5. At the same time, I know that this bishop is blocked in this way, right? It's not going to be able to come out. So if he plays b3 and bishop b2, that bishop, it's going to bite into 3 pawns, right? Visualize that. If the bishop comes out to b2, which is literally what happens in the next few moves, my pawns here are very solidly positioned against this bishop. So a lot of middle game maneuvering here, very closed position so far. And I play bishop f7, he plays queen e2, and here I was debating. I was like, do I play d5 or do I bring my queen up and connect my rooks? I played queen d7, and then finally, I decided, okay, if I wait too long, he's going to play d4, and he's going to get there first. So I played d5. He took. It should not even be a question of bishop or knight takes. In this particular case, there is literally zero reason to make this trade. You guys might think, well, who cares? I mean, it's knight for bishop. It doesn't matter. But you've put 3 pawns on dark squares, and you've just traded off the light squared bishop. It's not obvious why this is so bad right away, but the light squared bishop here will come alive as the position opens up. So that's why I played knight takes, and Liem doesn't trade on d5. He plays knight e4, outmaneuvering my knight. Where is this knight going? Well, he can't go over here, so he probably wants to land on c5 and get rid of this bishop. This bishop is not insanely strong, but it has no adversary. It's standing on a7. It just controls a lot of squares. It fights for the center. And what I did is I put both my rooks in the center, and you'll see he brought his last piece into the game to try to go knight to c5. That's exactly what he did, and in this case, I do take. You say, Levy, you just told me not to trade the bishop for the knight. Well, here's the problem. The knight hits my queen and my pawn. So if I play queen c8, knight and rook line up to this knight. So if this knight goes here, my pawn, which is guarding this knight from his rook, would take. Now he would simply win a pawn. And it's bad to be down a pawn in general, but in particular against the world number 30 or 28 at the time. So I decided to make this trade, and of course he takes with the rook. If you take with the pawn, you just block your rook's own vision. This pawn is never going anywhere. It's not a bad move, but he plays rook c5. Now, here, I'm curious if you'd like, again, these are all, videos to be instructive. Try to make progress with black. How in this position can black improve the position and start to create a little bit of, a threat, of a threat to white? You can pause if you want to think. I mean, in the game, I thought for like 20 minutes, so this video won't even be that long. Now, if you're looking at b6, you have the right, you see a short-term threat. But long-term, this rook will just go all the way back. And what have you done to your position? You've weakened c6, right? The structure is now weaker, and the bishop, let's not forget, in the long run, will be here. The rooks, as they're lined up in the middle, d4 is going to come, e4 is going to come, and I'm going to get kicked back. It's just too short-term of a plan. Instead, the move is knight to b6. This reopens the bishop. This now opens my queen this way. The knight used to be in the way, so I have vision on the d-pawn, and I have knight a4 coming. Liem didn't like any of that, so he played bishop a1, trying to sidestep knight a4 as a fork. Now if I play knight a4, he'll just go all the way back. Still not bad for me, but he missed my other idea. My idea was not actually to play knight a4. My idea actually has to do with this pawn. It's not that I'm going to take the pawn. It's that by bringing his other rook all the way into my territory, this rook has no guard. My queen and rook would come down and take it, which means this pawn does not defend these squares because it can't move, which means knight c4. Uh-oh. And I remember during the game, he had missed this move. Like, I played it, and he looked at it, and he kind of hesitated. He was like, oh. And the problem is, again, if he just takes, I'm going to take his rook, and I'm attacking this pawn. So he played bishop to b2. Now, you'll notice his bishop just came from there. So if I wanted to here, I could have repeated, just played knight b6 back, been like, haha, I got our repetition. What are you going to do? And at that point, grandmasters would not repeat moves because they would try to beat you. Instead, I continued pushing forward. So I realized that, my first kind of jab at him, it stung. So rather than back up, I'm going to keep coming forward. e4. Hitting the knight and the pawn. Again, he can't take. His next move is forced. He has to bring the knight back to e1, guarding the pawn on d3. And then here, I realized that, remember when I said b6 way back? Yeah, now the rook has no way home. And I continued throwing punches. b6. But actually, it would have been better here for me to come back. Why? Say, well, what have you done to the position? Well, the difference is that now the knight is back there, and I'm maintaining pressure here. He can never take, he can never sacrifice. My knight is no longer a target. And let's just say, like, as a joke that he would repeat again, you would continue to put pressure. You would play something like bishop g6, right? You would try to maintain more pressure. If he ever pushed this pawn, look what happens to his bishops. You might think, oh, he's getting out of danger, but his bishop is blocked. That bishop is locked in forever, and I'm playing with 3 pieces while he's playing with 1, and his position is completely blocked in. Am I completely winning here? No, but I have a better position here by far. So what I did is I played b6, and I knew his only move. His rook is trapped. So he has to play rook c6, and you say, okay, Levy, easy peasy, just take back. That's what I did in the game, but what I had miscalculated here, I thought for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, this is what I calculated in my head. I said, well, I can take this, which is what I did in the game. He will take, I will take, attacking his queen, the rooks will see each other. I have a rook in that position, a pawn, you know, it doesn't, I'm not winning, but it looks like I have a nice blockade of his position. Okay, and what are my other options? Well, I can take here. If I take, the rook is hit and this rook is hit. He can't take back because I'm going to take his rook. So this rook will come here, protecting this. And I said, well, now my knight is hanging. So what if I take? Then he'll take, because I'm hitting both pieces. I'll take, and he'll block my pawn. Now here, the position looks really good, but what's the problem? Well, his rooks hit my pawn. I have one way of protecting that, and that way is rook to c8. And if I play rook c8, he'll come all the way back with this rook, setting up this threat, and the bishop can come down. And I don't like this position. So where was I wrong? First of all, this position is completely fine for me. Apparently, I can sacrifice my rook for the bishop because I can take on h3. I completely forgot about that during the game. I forgot that in this position, I can take on h3 and not take back here. That's what I was like, I have to take back, and he's just gonna, no, I don't take, I play bishop e4 threatening mate, and he has almost no way to stop my attack. I just didn't see that. I mean, that's chess. You gotta calculate all of this, and then evaluate it, and come back to your idea. So in my head, I stopped my calculation at rook c8, rook c3. I don't like it. It doesn't look good. And you know what else I missed? Before you comment, because some people like to comment mid-video if I ever make a mistake. Wait. Remember how I said that I have only one way to protect this pawn? I forgot that I can play rook e7. This is protecting this pawn. And now bishop c6 doesn't hit my rook. And rook c7 is just, I mean, I give away the two rooks and I have a passed pawn. Rook c2 is coming. I'm going to get the queen out. I'm going to promote. I just missed rook e7. I completely missed it in the game. It's a weird move. And so I looked at all this for a long time and I just said, well, I don't see it. Let me just take and we'll go for this endgame. You know, we'll get this trade, and I'm better here. You know, I'm doing fine because in the other way I was not doing fine, but here I'm fine. Except I was completely wrong. Here white is doing well, and there black was doing well, but I didn't know that during the game. So now Liem has queen, and he has bishop and knight versus a rook and one extra pawn because I have 7 and I have 6. I have rook and pawn, which is 6. Sorry, and the two pieces are also 6. He played, and I played queen d5. And I never in a million years would have thought he would have traded his queen because it felt like he was giving away the only thing that could be active. And I was like, I'm going to get my rook here. I'm going to get my rook there. I have a 3 versus 2. So in the long run, I'm going to create a passed pawn. I'm going to trade the pawns down, create a passed pawn. And then Liem just, from here on out, played a beautiful game. And that's why I'm showing it. First, he plays bishop to f1, hitting my pawn. Now I have an uncomfortable decision. Do I play rook a8, which is ugly, bishop b7, which allows his bishop to come here, a5 or b5? b5 is a terrible move because it gives him access to this square. And even though I have a 3-on-2, now I can't push my pawns. They're completely blocked in. So in the game, I played rook a8, with the idea to play a5. And taking here is a horrible mistake for him, because after take, this is under attack and my pawns are coming, so he plays b5, shutting me down. Now I can't push this pawn, because that pawn will be weak. And if I play c5, well, there's the en passant rule. It's good to know the rules of chess. c5, so I can't play c5. So I played king f7, bringing my king. And I was like, well, how is he going to make progress? I mean, if he plays bishop to e2, for example, I'm going to go here and try to break. And then he played this move. King f7, he played this move. He played a move I thought was impossible. He played f3. I was like, wait, what? Oh, he's temporarily sacrificing the pawn to bring out his king and win the pawn back. Just again, I was completely blind to the sacrifice. I was like, what are you going to do? Like, how are you going to make any progress? Boom, I was like, oh yeah, that's possible. So he brings out his knight into the game, and then I played the move c5, and my logic was, well, he can en passant me, but now the difference is I take with the rook, my rook is going to come down, try to get this, etc. But he just went back. And, like, it seemed like I got everything I wanted, and my position even got worse. I can't really push forward because he'll put his knight there, and his bishop is coming next. So I played rook e8. He played knight d2. Amazing backwards move. The bishop is coming next, and he's going to play e4, and then bishop c4. Which of my pawns is a huge weakness now? b6. b6 is stuck, and it's going to be a target. So he plays e4. I'm trying to bring my king to defend the pawn. Bishop e6, but I'm not fast enough. If I play rook b8 and play really passively, he'll play a4, and my entire structure is frozen. And if I continue to bring my king to try to defend, he's going to attack me on the other side. My pieces are too far apart and too uncoordinated, and he's going to just break apart my pawns on the other side of the board. Well, I decided to take. And I said, well, at least I'm solid. King d6. Solid I was not. He brought his king up. I played rook f8. He brought his king up again. I played rook e8, trying to stop him from going e5. He played calm a4, making sure I can't do anything on that side of the board. And he just pushed. And he pushed. And I tried to push back, and he said, nope, I'm not going to take. If you take me, I will continue to push in. King d6, and he shut me down. I skipped ahead a little bit. He shut me down with h6. Now I can't move at all on that side of the board. Bishop to d5. And, well, king d6 and the final breakthrough, g5. And it looks like for a second I get a move which is a double check, but it's too little too late. I played the move c4 trying to create something. You know, if he goes here, then I'll play here. I mean, there was nothing. I mean, maybe I could have gone rook f1, but then he just brings in his bishop. So I played c4, bishop d4, and I thought I was really clever. I was like, he's going to take my pawn, and I'm going to go make a queen. Well, he could have done that if he wanted, but instead he just played king f6. So my rook had been cutting the king from invading, and rook c8 and king f6. And the game is just lost, because even though I can push this pawn, he can check me, and now my king either has to block or walk into an x-ray. If king c5 blocking, then he takes my pawn. My rook isn't protecting my pawn anymore, and the game is over. So he played king to f6, and I resigned. It felt, for the last 25 moves of this game, literally, because this was move 23, and on move 50, I was responding to him. I threw a couple of punches, and once he weathered that early storm, I made one bad decision. Knight takes b2 versus queen takes c6, didn't evaluate the position correctly, and that's it. And the game was over. Simply over just like that. And he just completely melted me with his play, was a step ahead of me the whole time, a timely, you know, here, there, playing on both sides of the board, and it was just an expert game by him. And I wanted to share it. This is a video I've never talked about. I never made a video on this subject, and I figured it would be fun for all of you to see. I think the second strongest player I've played over the board is the American Grandmaster Sam Shankland, like 27-10. But I've played a few of the super GMs who are like top 40, top 50 in the world. I have yet to beat one, but also at this tournament, I played the best game I ever played, and I made a video about that. That came in round 5 or 6. I don't remember exactly. Round 5. It came in round 5. So maybe I'll put a card up there, or I'll put it there because videos will appear. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know what other games of mine you're interested in thinking about and looking at, and I'll see you in the next video.